3 hours later, Lyric sat in a hospital chair next to Kangdi's bed. He had a concussion, bruised ribs and various cuts and bruises, but nothing permanently damaged. "You should go home," Kangdi said. "Get some rest. Not a chance. I'm not letting you out of my sight. Don't argue, you won't win." Kangdi smiled, then winced because it hurt his split lip. "I'm starting to realize that." Lyric took his hand. "You scared me. When Taeyong told me Minyu had taken you, I've never been so terrified in my life." "I'm sorry, I should have been more careful." "We both should have been." Lyric paused. "Minyu said you were cousins." "Distant cousins, through my father's side." "You never told me your family was that deeply involved." Kangdi looked away. "I wanted to leave all of that behind. Pretend it didn't exist. I thought if I built something legitimate, something good, I could erase my past." "You can't erase the past," Lyric said gently, "but you can move forward from it. Everything you've built, everything you've done, that's who you are, not where you came from. You still want to be with me, knowing what you know now." "Kangdi, I literally got kidnapped by the Mafia and didn't change my mind. I think we're past the point of me being scared off." He laughed, then groaned. "Don't make me laugh, hurts too much." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Kangdi said, "Move in with me." Lyrics blinked. "What?" "Move in with me. I know it's fast. I know we've only been together a month. But Lyric, life is too short and too dangerous to waste time. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to come home to you every night. Move in with me." Lyric's heart swelled. "You're on pain medication. You might not mean that tomorrow." "I'll mean it tomorrow. I'll mean it every day." "Then ask me again when you're not in a hospital bed. Is that a yes?" Kangdi grinned despite his injuries. "I can work with that." Over the next few weeks, things slowly returned to normal. Or at least, a new version of normal. Lee Minyu was arrested and charged with multiple crimes including kidnapping, assault, and money laundering. The evidence Lyric and Kangdi had collected was instrumental in building the case. Several other members of the organization were arrested too, including the mole inside Park Industries, a senior executive in the legal department who'd been feeding Minyu information. The media had a field day with the story. Billionaire CEO battles organized crime. Accountant hero helps FBI take down criminal enterprise. Lyric hated the attention, but Kangdi handled it with his usual calm grace, giving carefully worded statements to the press while protecting Lyric's privacy as much as possible. At Park Industries, things changed too. Kangdi promoted Lyric to senior financial analyst, a promotion she'd earned through her work, not their relationship. He made that very clear to everyone. He also implemented new security protocols and hired an entire team to audit every transaction, ensuring nothing like Minyu's scheme could happen again. And true to his word, Kangdi asked Lyric to move in with him again. This time she said yes. Moving into Kangdi's penthouse apartment was surreal. It was beautiful and massive and felt nothing like home. Until Lyric started adding her own touches, her books on the shelves, her plants on the balcony, her bright throw pillows on the very expensive, very neutral couch. "You're making it look lived in," Kangdi observed one Saturday morning, watching her rearrange furniture. "You say that like it's a bad thing." "It's not, I like it. I like you being here." He pulled her into his arms and Lyric melted against him. This had become her favorite place, wrapped up in Kangdi's embrace, safe and loved. "I have something for you," Kangdi said. "It's not my birthday." "I know, but I saw this and thought of you." He handed her a small box. Lyric opened it to find a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant, a Korean character. "What does it mean?" she asked. "Yonggi, it means courage, because you're the bravest person I know." Lyric felt tears prick her eyes. "Kangdi, you walked into danger to save me. You stood up to people who terrified you. You never backed down, not once. You deserve to be reminded of how strong you are. Help me put it on. He fastened the necklace around her neck, his fingers gentle. Lyric touched the pendant, feeling the weight of it. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, Candy replied, for choosing me, for seeing past my mistakes, for believing I could be better. You are better, you always have been. They kissed, slow and sweet, and Lyric felt her heart overflow with love for this complicated, damaged, beautiful man. Everything was perfect, which, of course, meant something was about to go wrong. The problem started with a phone call. Kangdi had been getting calls from Korea more frequently. He'd step out of the room to answer them, his voice low and tense. At first, Lyric didn't think much of it. He had business interests in Korea. International calls were normal. But then she noticed he was distracted, distant, like his mind was somewhere else. Is everything okay? She asked one night over dinner. Fine, Kangdi said automatically. You're lying. He looked up surprised. I know you well enough now to know when something's bothering you, Lyric continued. Talk to me. Kangdi set down his fork. It's my mother. I didn't know you were in contact with her. 44 and $3. I'm not, usually, but she's been calling. She wants me to come to Korea. For what? My father is dying. Lyric reached across the table to take his hand. Kangdi, I'm so sorry. Don't be, we're not close. He disowned me when I left the family business. We haven't spoken in 8 years. But he's still your father. He's a criminal who cares more about his empire than his own children. There was so much pain in Kangdi's voice, pain he usually kept buried. Do you want to go? Lyric asked gently. No, yes, I don't know. Kangdi ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. Part of me thinks he deserves to die alone after everything he's done, but part of me, something like that. Then you should go. It's not that simple. Going back to Korea means facing my entire family, dealing with the organization. There are people there who still see me as a traitor. Then I'll come with you. Kangdi's eyes snapped to hers. Absolutely not, it's too dangerous. We literally just survived being kidnapped together. I think I can handle a family reunion. You stood by me through everything. Let me stand by you through this. Kangdi was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, You're sure? It won't be pleasant. My family, they're not kind people. I'm not going for them. I'm going for you. Kangdi pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. I don't deserve you. Yeah, you do. 2 weeks later, Lyric found herself on a plane to Seoul. She'd never been to Korea before. Never been out of the country, actually. The flight was long, and despite the luxury of first-class seats that Kangdi had insisted on, Lyric couldn't sleep. She was nervous, not about Korea itself, but about meeting Kangdi's family, about seeing the world he'd come from. Kangdi seemed to sense her anxiety. He held her hand the entire flight, occasionally pressing kisses to her knuckles. It's going to be fine, he assured her. Your mother doesn't even know I exist. She does now. I told her I was bringing someone important. How did she react? She was surprised, but she'll be polite. Korean hospitality is very important, even in crime families. Lyric wasn't sure if that was reassuring or terrifying. They landed in Seoul early in the morning. The city was beautiful modern skyscrapers mixing with traditional architecture, mountains in the distance. A car was waiting for them. Not a regular car, a luxury sedan with a driver and another man in the front seat who was clearly security. I thought Minyu was in jail, Lyric whispered to Kangdi. He is, but my father has plenty of other enemies, and they know I'm coming. Great, so this trip was potentially dangerous too. Why couldn't they just have a normal relationship? The drive took them out of the city and into the mountains, where massive estates dotted the hillsides. The car, eventually pulled up to a gated property that looked like something from a historical drama, traditional Korean architecture on a grand scale. "This is where you grew up?" Lyric asked, awed despite herself. "Part of the time. We had other houses too." Of course they did. The gates opened, and they drove through beautiful gardens to the main house. Staff came out to greet them, bowing deeply to Kangdi. He responded in Korean, his voice taking on different tones and rhythms than when he spoke English. It was fascinating to watch. An older woman appeared at the entrance of the house. She was beautiful, elegantly dressed, with sharp eyes that immediately found Lyric and assessed her from head to toe. Kangdi's mother. "Iyama," Kangdi said, bowing respectfully. His mother replied in Korean, her tone cool but not unfriendly. Then she looked at Lyric. "You must be Lyric," she said in perfect English. "I am Mrs. Park. Welcome to our home." "Thank you for having me, Mrs. Park," Lyric said, bowing slightly because it seemed like the right thing to do. Mrs. Park's expression softened just a fraction. "Please, come inside. You must be tired from your journey." The inside of the house was even more impressive than the outside. Traditional Korean design mixed with obvious wealth, beautiful furniture, art on the walls, fresh flowers everywhere. A staff member showed Lyric to a bedroom to freshen up while Kangdi went to see his father. "I'll come get you in an hour," he promised, squeezing her hand. Then he was gone, and Lyric was alone in a bedroom that was probably bigger than her old apartment. She sat on the bed and took a deep breath. "You can do this," she told herself. "You faced down the Mafia. You can handle dinner with your boyfriend's family." But when Kangdi came to get her an hour later, his face was grim. "How is he?" Lyric asked. "Dying but still conscious. He wants to meet you." "I have no idea, but when my father makes a request, people don't usually refuse." Lyric followed Kangdi through the house to a wing that was clearly set up as a medical suite. There were monitors beeping, medical equipment, and a nurse who bowed and left when they entered. In the bed lay an old man who barely looked alive. His skin was gray, his breathing labored, but his eyes were sharp when they focused on Lyric. He said something in Korean to Kangdi. "He wants to know if you're the reason I've stayed in America," Kangdi translated. Lyric looked at the old man, trying not to be intimidated. "I'm one reason, but mostly he stayed because he built something good there, something worth staying for." Kangdi translated. His father's lips twitched, maybe a smile, maybe a grimace. He spoke again, longer this time. "He says you have courage speaking to him like that," Kangdi translated. "He says I chose well, tell him thank you." Kangdi did. His father's eyes moved from Lyric to his son. He spoke for a long time, his voice getting weaker. When he finished, Kangdi's jaw was tight. He responded briefly in Korean, then took Lyric's hand. They left the room. Once they were in the hallway, Lyric asked, "What did he say?" "He apologized for disowning me, for choosing the organization over his family. He said he was wrong." Tears were shining in Kangdi's eyes, though he didn't let them fall. "That's good, isn't it?" Lyric said gently. "That's closure. He also said I have to take over the family business." Lyric's heart sank. Not the criminal side. He's agreed to let the organization dissolve after his death, but the legitimate holdings, real estate, investments, companies. Someone has to manage it, and he wants it to be me. What did you say? I said I'd think about it. They walked back to their room in silence. Once inside, Kangdi sat on the bed and put his head in his hands. Lyric sat next to him, her arm around his shoulders. "Talk to me." "I don't want this," Kangdi said. "I built my own company, my own life. I don't want my father's empire." "Then say no." "It's not that simple. If I refuse, the holdings will be fought over by various factions. People will die. The violence we've been trying to stop will escalate. But if you accept, you'll be tied to this place. What do you want to do?" Kangdi looked at her. "I want to go back to LA with you. I want to wake up in our apartment and go to work at Park Industries and live a normal, boring, safe life with the woman I love. Lyric's breath caught. It was the first time he'd said it out loud. You love me, she whispered. Of course I love you. I've loved you since you dumped coffee on me and looked at me like I was a person, not a title or a wallet or a means to an end. You saw me, Lyric, the real me. How could I not love you? Tears were streaming down Lyric's face now. I love you too, so much. They held each other, and for a moment the world outside didn't matter. But eventually, reality came back. We'll figure this out, Lyric said, together. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. You'd stay in Korea if I had to take over. I'd follow you anywhere. But Kangdi, you have to make this decision for yourself, not for me or your father or anyone else. What do you want? Kangdi was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I want to find a middle ground. I'll take over the legitimate businesses but manage them from LA. I'll hire people here to run the day-to-day operations. I'll honor my father's wishes without sacrificing the life I've built. That sounds like a good plan. It will mean traveling back and forth, spending time here to oversee things. I can handle that, as long as we're together. Kangdi kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. Kangdi's father passed away 3 days later. The funeral was massive, hundreds of people, including some very powerful and very dangerous individuals. Lyric stayed close to Kangdi the entire time, offering silent support. She couldn't understand most of what was being said, but she could feel the weight of it. The end of an era, the transition of power. After the funeral, there was a formal reading of the will. Kangdi inherited everything, just as his father had wanted. The legitimate businesses, the properties, the investments, and the responsibility of dismantling the criminal organization. It wouldn't be easy. There were people who didn't want to see the empire fall. But with the FBI's help and the evidence Lyric and Kangdi had provided, the path forward was clear. It would take time, maybe years, but it would happen. Before they left Korea, Mrs. Park asked to speak with Lyric privately. They met in the garden, among beautiful flowers and the sound of a fountain. You make my son happy, Mrs. Park said simply. He makes me happy too. I was wrong about many things. I supported my husband when I should have questioned him. I let the organization become more important than my children. I have regrets. It's not too late, Lyric said gently. Kangdi would like to have a relationship with you. Mrs. Park smiled, and for the first time Lyric saw genuine warmth in it. You are good for him, strong, smart. You don't let him carry everything alone. I try. When I was young, I was like you. Brave. But then I became afraid. Afraid of losing my position, my comfort. I let fear make my choices. Mrs. Park took Lyric's hands. Don't let that happen to you. Stay brave. They flew back to Los Angeles the next day, both exhausted but relieved to be going home, so Lyric said as their plane took off, that was intense. Kangdi laughed. That's one word for it. Your mom likes me. Of course she does. You're impossible not to like. Smooth talker. I learned from the best. Lyric settled into her seat, holding Kangdi's hand. What happens now? Now we go home, we get back to work, we live our lives and the Korean businesses. I'll manage them remotely for now. Maybe we'll spend a few months there every year, if you're okay with that. I'm okay with anything as long as we're together. Kangdi brought her hand to his lips. Have I mentioned lately that I love you? Not in the last hour, definitely slacking. I love you, Lyric Monroe, more than I thought I could love anyone. I love you too, Kangdi Park, even if you do have the world's most complicated family. They both laughed, and for the first time in weeks everything felt light, easy, right. They'd been through so much together. Danger, betrayal, kidnapping, family drama. But they'd come through it stronger. Together. 6 months later. Lyric stood in front of the mirror in her and Kangdi's bedroom, smoothing down her dress for the 10th time. You look beautiful, Kangdi said from the doorway. She turned to find him leaning against the frame, looking impossibly handsome in his tuxedo. "You clean up pretty well yourself," Lyric said with a smile. "Are you nervous?" "Terrified. There are going to be 300 people at this gala, all staring at me." "They'll be staring at both of us. It's the first public event where we're appearing together as a couple." Park Industries was hosting a charity gala to raise money for organizations that helped victims of organized crime, a cause that was deeply personal to both of them. It was also the night Kangdi was going to make a major announcement about the future of his Korean holdings. And though Lyric didn't know it yet, it was the night Kangdi had other plans too. The gala was held at a luxury hotel in downtown LA. When Lyric and Kangdi arrived, cameras flashed everywhere. Reporters shouted questions. Lyric had been to events before, but nothing like this. Kangdi kept his arm around her waist, steady and protective. "Just smile and keep walking," he murmured. They made it through the press line and into the ballroom, which was decorated beautifully with flowers, candles, and elegant drapery. Shanice rushed over immediately, looking stunning in a gold dress. "Girl, you're on the front page tomorrow for sure." "Don't remind me," Lyric groaned. "Are you kidding? You look like a queen, own it." Kangdi excused himself to greet some of the major donors, leaving Lyric with Shanice. "So," Shanice said, linking her arm through Lyric's, "how's life in a penthouse with a billionaire?" "Surprisingly normal. We still argue about who left dishes in the sink." "He does dishes." "Sometimes when I make him." They both laughed. "But seriously," Shanice continued, "you seem happy." "Like really happy I am," Lyric said, and she meant it. Despite everything they'd been through, or maybe because of it, she and Kangdi had built something real, something strong. The evening progressed with dinner, speeches, and a live auction that raised an impressive amount of money. Then it was time for Kangdi's announcement. He took the stage, commanding the room's attention effortlessly. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began. "The work we're supporting with this event is incredibly important. Too many people suffer at the hands of organized crime. Too many families are destroyed. Too many lives are lost." He paused, his eyes finding Lyric in the crowd. "I know this personally because I came from that world. My family was deeply involved in criminal enterprises for generations, and for a long time I benefited from that, whether I wanted to or not." The room was silent, everyone hanging on his words. "But I also know that change is possible. Redemption is possible. 6 months ago, I inherited my father's legitimate business holdings in Korea. Tonight, I'm announcing that I'm restructuring those businesses entirely. We're implementing new ethics policies, divesting from any ventures with questionable practices, and donating 20% of all profits to organizations fighting organized crime." Applause erupted. Kangdi waited for it to die down. "I'm also announcing the creation of the Lyric Monroe Foundation." Lyric's head snapped up. "What?" "The foundation will provide education and job training for people trying to leave criminal organizations and build new lives. Because I believe everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves the opportunity to choose a better path." He was looking directly at her now. "I named it after the woman who showed me what true courage looks like, who risked everything to stand by my side, who never gave up on me, even when she had every reason to." Tears were streaming down Lyric's face. "Lyric Monroe, would you please join me on stage?" Every eye in the room turned to her. Shanice gave her a gentle push. "Go." Lyric walked to the stage on shaking legs. Kangdi met her at the stairs, taking her hand and helping her up. "You named a foundation after me," she whispered. "I did. Is that okay?" "It's more than okay, it's perfect." Kangdi smiled. Then, to Lyric's shock, he got down on one knee. The room erupted in gasps. "Lyric Monroe," Kangdi said, pulling out a small velvet box. "6 months ago you walked into my life and changed everything. You challenged me, supported me, loved me when I didn't think I deserved it. You made me want to be better, made me believe I could be better." He opened the box, revealing a stunning ring, a simple band with a perfect diamond that caught the light. "I don't want to spend another day without you. Will you marry me?" Lyric couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, could only stare at this amazing man who was offering her everything. Yes, she finally managed. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Kangdi stood and slipped the ring onto her finger, then kissed her as the entire ballroom erupted in applause and cheers. When they finally broke apart, both laughing and crying, Kangdi whispered in her ear, "I love you, future Mrs. Park." "I love you too," Lyric whispered back, "but I'm keeping my last name." "I wouldn't expect anything less." The rest of the evening was a blur of congratulations and champagne and joy. But eventually, Lyric and Kangdi escaped to the hotel rooftop, needing a moment alone. The city sparkled below them, full of lights and life and possibility. "I can't believe you proposed in front of 300 people," Lyric said. "Too much." "No, it was perfect, terrifying but perfect." Kangdi pulled her into his arms. "I wanted everyone to know how much you mean to me." I think they got the message. They stood there for a while, just holding each other, looking out at the city they both loved. "Do you ever think about how we met?" Lyric asked. "You mean when you assaulted me with coffee?" "I didn't assault you, it was an accident. An accident that changed my life." "Mine too." Kangdi tilted her chin up to look at him. "I meant what I said earlier, about you making me want to be better. You did that, Lyric, you still do. You were already good, Kangdi. You just needed someone to remind you. We're going to have a good life together, I promise you that. I know we will, as long as we have each other." They kissed under the stars, two people who'd found each other against all odds, who'd fought for their love through danger and doubt and difficult choices. And as they stood there, Lyric realized something important. This wasn't the end of their story, it was just the beginning. 3 months later, Lyric and Kangdi stood in a beautiful garden in Korea, surrounded by friends and family. Mrs. Park was there, looking genuinely happy for the first time since Lyric had met her. Shanice was there as Lyric's maid of honor, crying happy tears and trying not to ruin her makeup. Taeyong and Kangdi's other friends were there, all of them grinning as they watched their friend get married. It was a small ceremony, nothing like the massive traditional affair Mrs. Park had initially suggested. Just the people who mattered most, in a place that was meaningful to Kangdi. Lyric wore a simple white dress that she'd found in a boutique in LA. Kangdi wore a traditional Korean hanbok that made him look like a prince from a historical drama. They'd written their own vows. "Lyric," Kangdi said, holding both her hands, "you walked into my life when I was trying to outrun my past. You didn't let me hide. You saw all of me, the good, the bad, the complicated, and you loved me anyway. You gave me hope. You gave me courage. You gave me a reason to fight for a better future. I promise to spend the rest of my life being worthy of your love, to support you the way you've supported me, to build a life with you that's full of joy and laughter and adventure. I promise to always be honest with you, to never let fear make my choices, to face every challenge together. I love you, Lyric Monroe, today and always." Lyric was crying now, not even trying to hide it. "Kangdi," she said, her voice shaking with emotion, "I thought I knew what I wanted from life. A safe job, a quiet existence, no drama, no complications. Then I met you and you turned everything upside down. You showed me that life is meant to be lived, not just survived. You taught me what it means to be brave, to fight for what matters, to love without holding back. I promise to stand by you through every storm, to celebrate every victory, to be your partner in everything. I promise to challenge you when you need it and support you always. I promise to build this new chapter of our lives together with honesty and trust and so much love. I love you, Kangdi Park, today and forever." The officiant pronounced them husband and wife. And when they kissed, Lyric felt like her heart might burst from happiness. The reception was held at the family estate, which had been transformed with flowers and lights and music. There was Korean food and American food, traditional ceremonies and modern touches. It was a perfect blend of both their worlds. During the first dance, Kangdi held Lyric close and whispered, "How are you feeling, Mrs. Monroe Park?" "We agreed on Monroe Park. You didn't think I'd make you give up your name, did you? And you're okay with the hyphen." "I'm okay with anything that makes you happy." Lyric laughed. "I'm feeling perfect. This is perfect. You're perfect." "I'm far from perfect." "Perfect for me, then." They swayed to the music, surrounded by the people they loved, in a moment of pure joy. Mrs. Park approached them when the song ended, smiling through tears. "Welcome to the family, Lyric," she said, embracing her new daughter-in-law. "Take care of my son." "I will," Lyric promised. "And you're welcome in LA anytime. We'd love to have you visit." "I would like that very much." It was a moment of healing, of new beginnings. Shanice grabbed Lyric for a photo, then whispered, "So, when are you making me an aunt?" "Slow down, we just got married." "I'm just saying, you two are going to make beautiful bobbies." But Lyric was laughing, her heart full of possibility. Later that night, after all the guests had left and the celebration was over, Lyric and Kangdi sat on the balcony of their room at the estate, looking up at the stars. "Did today live up to your expectations?" Kangdi asked. "It exceeded them. Everything was beautiful." "You were beautiful." "Smooth talker." "Always for you." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Lyric said, "Do you think we'll be able to balance everything? Your work in LA, the businesses here, the foundation." "We'll figure it out, together." "Together," Lyric agreed. "Are you happy?" Kangdi asked, truly happy. Lyric looked at her husband and felt a wave of love so strong it took her breath away. "I'm more than happy. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." They kissed under the Korean stars, two people who'd overcome so much to find each other. And as they sat there, planning their future, dreaming their dreams, Lyric realized the most important lesson she'd learned through this entire journey. Love wasn't about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone worth fighting for, someone who made you want to be brave, someone who stood by you through the storms and celebrated with you in the sunshine. It was about choosing each other every single day, no matter what challenges came. And she and Kangdi, they would keep choosing each other. Today, tomorrow, always. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.